Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from IPR with the latest on the tropics today. Here's a map of Tropical Storm Chantal from August of 2001. I remember tracking this one. It formed in the deep tropics and was moving extremely fast, opened up to a wave as it passed through the islands and then came back. But it was early on thought to be a significant threat. The Hurricane Center thought it would be a hurricane before the islands and then potentially a strong hurricane down and enter the Gulf, but that just never progressed. Although it almost became a hurricane when it hit the Yucatan, it didn't even survive into the Bay of Campeche. Had this hurricane tropical storm occurred in 2004 or 5, I think it would have been a much more significant system given the pattern. But notice, third named storm out of a 15 storm year didn't form until August 15th, which shows that we are actually ahead of that year, and look what that year did. A couple of Cape Verde hurricanes, major Cape Verde hurricanes. We had 4 major hurricanes that year. 2 of which were Category 4s in the Western Caribbean, deadly hurricanes, one in October, one in November. And then we had the 3 U.S. landfalls, Allison, Barry, and Gabrielle, one of which was deadly Allison, of course, with its flooding. So we're still well ahead in the game here. Now, this is a map of the Atlantic Basin and the Pacific from Unisys, and this is of August 10th, 2004, 2 years ago. We had Tropical Storm Bonnie, remember that? Tropical Storm Charlie, I was on air tracking them. But notice the image there, and then today, 2 years later. Pretty similar, huh? We have a feature in here, we have a feature in the Gulf, we have this system over here. Take a look again. 2004, 2006. So the pattern just in general, I'm kind of going, hey, it's not that active, but we do have some systems to watch, just like in 2004. We had Bonnie and Charlie this time. Now we're going on to Debbie. So we're ahead of 04, and we know what 04 did. So again, we're still in the game here. Now this is an image from about 1 p.m. yesterday, about 24 hours ago. You can see we had a system here, Invest 91, start to show mid-level rotation. Recon went out, there was no low-level center, and the lowest pressure I think was 10 millibars in there. Notice what happened 24 hours later now. The system has moved dramatically more northward, probably going to get killed over the mountains of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. We do have this system down here in the Caribbean that we need to keep an eye on because this might move towards the Bay of Campeche, although if it did, it'd probably be one of those quick-living storms. There's the upper level low firing up convection, and this low actually was behind Chris. This was the one that squashed it. Remember we thought it would ventilate it, came down, kind of followed a path like this, and is now racing. What's left of Chris dying out over Mexico. And then we have this area up here. This is probably going to become a storm, I think, over the next few days, and kind of head on out, but nevertheless it will give us something to watch. Wave behind 91L2. Looking pretty interesting. Here's a closer look at 91L. Poofed up a little bit this morning, but since then it's not been looking that good. It's been ragged, and I don't think it's going to survive. Although if it moves more westerly, it might have a chance down the road. But as you can see, the wind shear tendencies are just too darn high right now, especially right over the top of it. Lower where it was yesterday, and I got to tell you, it's pretty low out here in the Atlantic for waves to start coming off. And we have one about to exit that might move into this and have a pretty favorable environment for a couple of days, maybe for quite a few days as it moves this way if it does, and the Western Caribbean favorable. But elsewhere there is high wind shear, and you can see the wind shear coming right over the top of it from this upper low up here, and that's why it's not being able to develop. Here's that system off the southeast coast. You always see these, they kind of get left behind, kind of this they free fall down from a system and they kind of kind of spin up there, and I think this one may be doing it over the next several days, but it shouldn't become a hurricane, I wouldn't think. There's the upper low moving towards Mexico. Obviously not a feature that will develop. Here's a very powerful tropical wave about to leave Africa, and this one has a large envelope with it. If it can maintain this, the shear is low ahead of it. The shear is low ahead of it. There's a lot of moisture with it, and obviously warm water. And you can see here is north of the Cape Verde Islands. I put this on the lineup today to show that this time last year we had massive amount of dry air, the SAL, and this year it seems to be more typical dry air with a lot of moisture around. So we'll probably see a more active Cape Verde season. In general in the Atlantic, we have what's left of Invest 91L, probably not going to do anything. Keep an eye on it. Upper low with some convection moving in Mexico. Feature down here, area of disturbed weather near Central America, not doing anything. and then this feature off the southeast coast I think will likely become a storm. Western Pacific, very active. In fact, you can't even make out China here. Here's China, and then here's Taiwan, and then there's the tail end of Japan, and there's the Philippines and Vietnam, and here is Typhoon, was it Super Typhoon Saomai, and Saomai has winds now down to 130 miles an hour, still an extremely dangerous typhoon. It was up at about Category 5 yesterday, weakened slightly before landfall to 150 miles per hour, and you can see here over the course of the morning as it made landfall this morning, the eye started to contract more, so it was probably about to start to fluctuate in intensity downward, but it made landfall about 150 miles an hour, and there's the latest satellite clearly weakening down to about 130, probably more like 110 now, but nevertheless a very bad blow for China. I'm Mike Naso, and I'll see you next time.